Welcome to Eye on Business. I'm Kevin McDonald, and in studio with me today is Ash Kumra, Chairman and CEO of Desi U. Desi U Productions is a company that does video production in 55 countries and has 125 million video views to this day. Ash, thanks for coming in.
Happy to be here.
Why don't you tell me a little bit more about the core of what Desi U does?
Sure. So we're a distribution company. So what we do is we find really awesome content from across the world. Let's say you're a film studio and you are launching like Slumdog Millionaire, or let's say you're that comedian that has that really awesome set. We help you find traffic for the videos. Because right now, in this day and age with YouTube and all these different social media tools, it's very hard to find the right traffic, and we're all about making sure that you get the right traffic.
So now what I understand is it's generally focused on Indian entertainment and Indian culture, and you are an American born of Indian descent.
Yeah.
Explain to me how you got into that.
Yeah, first off, I love being an American, and I went to colleges out here, and it taught me about entrepreneurship. I worked out, did a couple business ventures, and then I felt like I wanted to do something that could leave a lasting impact. And my parents blessed me with the Indian culture, and I just saw that not only from a spiritual standpoint, but from a business standpoint, India's entertainment industry is the largest in the world. And India's entertainment industry is coming out here to Hollywood now. Reliance last year or 2 years ago just bought DreamWorks. You know, stars like Sylvester Stallone want to be in Bollywood films. You have stars out here from India, that are coming to America. So I just want to be that connector. I just found a business opportunity to do it.
So the cross-sourcing is interesting to me.
Yeah.
We've got American companies using Indian production companies, and Indian production coming in and buying assets in America and working here as well. Now you started in 2006.
Yeah.
It sounds like you've done quite the growth pattern. Tell me a little bit about how you started. What's your funding source? What got you started? You're here in Irvine, and it's really good to hear positive stories.
Yeah. I did the bootstrap model at first. My office was a Panera Bread, working with my laptop. I had a co-founder who's still with me, and we were working on this while we had jobs. And the moment we started getting revenues, our business model was primarily advertisements. We decided, okay, let's make this a serious business. And that was in later 2007. And we got some funding. We went through the SBA, actually. One of the best advice that some people have told me is that in terms of institutional funding and angel money, it's best to get it when you're cash flow positive, because then you have better leverage as a company.
Of course.
So prior to, that's why we never aggressively tried to go for those groups. We finally reached that level, and all of a sudden in, I would say, this summer, 2010, is when things really hit us. We were a recipient of the 2010 Best Digital Media Company with the Irvine Entrepreneur Forum. That opened up a lot of press. I myself got an award as CEO of the Year from a prestigious Indian business organization.
Right on.
And now we're at a point where we're generating revenues. So we're just sustaining the business. And we're looking at funding maybe down the road, but not at this moment.
So is your income self-sustaining at this point?
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about the SBA portion of this. This is important. The government right now is talking at least a lot about trying to enable small businesses through SBA loans. Was it a positive process for you?
It was very positive. The money itself wasn't a significant amount, but the resources that came with it were really good. For instance, they forced us. They said, if you're going to take this money, you have to go get our coaching. And because I'm a technology-focused company, using technology to enhance my business, I got to be affiliated with TriTech. And TriTech has been a blessing for me. I work with a guy named Steve Mednick, and that whole TriTech process, it was like getting a free business coach on my business plan, my pitch, I have a proposal. Those kind of skill sets actually helped elevate my company to generate more revenues. So I'm emphatically a fan of the SBA.
So you're 4 years in, and if you were king for a day, where are you going to be in 5 years?
I'm actually at a point with our business where we have a really good expertise on, like you said, this convergence that's going on right now. And we are now going to shift our company into like an agency where, let's say you're a Hollywood studio and you want to do like a Slumdog Millionaire Part 2. Work with us to find out, okay, which are the target markets you want to launch this film to? Or let's say you're that Indian studio that's looking to like buy up another DreamWorks, or you want to partner with someone. Talk with us because we know how the Hollywood system works. So that's going to require a lot of groundwork, and really just taking our assets to another level. And the reason why I think this is important is that in our day and age, our business is based on relationships and how we brand ourselves, and becoming more like an agency, kind of an advisory type service play would make sense for us as a business.
Well, and it's a pretty good pure profit model too, because you don't have to produce a product in order to produce revenues.
Yes.
I mean, that's always good. Are you expecting to stay focused on just the Indian entertainment, or do you see yourself at some point broadening out that scope, or do you believe there's enough money in the Indian entertainment to make your billions in that process?
Actually, all the above.
Okay.
Because I think they're all related. First off, the Indian entertainment world is growing, but now the Indian entertainment world is coming more to Hollywood. So that's a little outside of what I traditionally done. Now, instead of just working with like an Indian studio, I'm now planning to work with more Hollywood studios. And then there's a cultural aspect, which actually is larger than the Indians that live out here. There's things like yoga, there's things like cooking, there's things like dancing that have traces of the Indian element. You go to these reality shows, you see like So You Think You Dance, you have a Bollywood dance team. You go to yoga studios, majority of the people aren't Indian. So we really want to help with those types of content creators too that are doing work in those realms, because at the end of the day, whether I'm doing Indian culture or whether I'm doing like stuff for like American culture, I understand one thing really well. I understand how to get traffic for content. And those type of relationships that I can do that with, my understanding, my expertise, the team that's with me, it's applicable to all those other genres too.
Yeah, 125 million views is quite a bit for a small company of 4 years. I mean, that's a pretty phenomenal achievement. Let's talk a little bit about the process. If someone comes to DesiYou and says, hey, I'd like to work with you, what does that process look like?
So because of the structuring of what I said we're doing, morphing our business, we're going to offer a couple things actually. One is straight revenue share. So if you have a library of videos and you told me, look, I just want to get traffic for these, we will distribute these videos to our network of websites, which is over 50,000 websites. We work with various mobile carriers, set-top boxes. We'll get it out there depending on your genre and your interest and your region. And then if every dollar that comes in from ad dollars or subscription, because if it's a short film, people can actually download that film and we'll get a piece of that, we'll do a revenue sharing agreement. But if you want something deeper, like again, if you're that content creator, that production house that really wants to get the right traffic, kind of like the Blair Witch marketing, I kind of call it, that's a custom deal. That would be more like a consultation type fee base, and that's where we would really get in and become like your in-house advisors on making your brand really relevant.
So you see yourself both as a traditional distribution and marketing and guerrilla marketer.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think it's going to get better. I think the mobile revolution is phenomenal. I'm speaking from an example. I'm a recent iPhone convert. Okay, and I was blown away of how addicting the app model is and how many different ways you can make money. For instance, I like this thing called Ask a Ninja. It's this like funny guy who does this, like he pretends he's a ninja and he gives advice. So I download the app, cost me 99 cents. I want to play the game, it's free, but if I want to get prizes, or special weapons, it's another 99 cents. And Ask a Ninja has his videos, but if you want to get premium videos for Ask a Ninja iPhone users, you have to pay $1.99 there. And there's sponsors too. You have to, if you want to get product sponsors and things like that. I think the mobile is really allowing us to do that. And I think the second thing that gets me excited is I think the set-top box revolution. When I mean set-top box, I mean the Apple TVs, the Rokus, even TiVo is the original set-top box. I think that's going to be opening up a lot of waves.
Well, yeah, that brings the local download and then your ability to leverage it, to watch it later, or share it in different rooms and so on and so forth. That totally makes sense. Who are your current partners now? I mean, I saw that you work with YouTube and some of the other major names, but what makes you different from other production or distribution firms?
It's our focus. I think the thing that allows us is that we understand Indian entertainment, Indian culture really well. So we have to stick to that. And that allows us to attain these higher partners that are more trying to market to everyone. But when you have everyone, you want to focus on special niches. So they don't have those kind of companies or people in-house, so they would rather partner with us because we live, eat, drink, and sleep that stuff. So it's like, why try to build something new when you can partner with someone who gets it? So I think that's what allows us to attain these partnerships. Recently, I've been really focused on making our company get more partnerships in the mobile and set-top box side. I think the web, the internet as a whole, is shifting to that model where you can get Yelp on your iPhone. Now, Yelp is a traditional Yelp.com website, but as an iPhone user, it's actually an app. So I think the model to focus on the mobile and set-top is the way to go. So I'm really bullish on that right now.
And let me ask, I know that the young people are the ones that are generally using the technology, but I mean, our population is aging, and I keep hearing that everybody's going to do stuff over phones. And I'm a complete technology geek myself, but without my glasses, I can't see my phone. So, you know, how much entertainment, do you really see that as becoming the predominant way that we get our entertainment in the future, or do you just believe it's going to become a major source of it?
I think it's a major source. I think, look, if Avatar 2 comes out, IMAX, you're going to go with your family. But if you want to watch that, like NBC outsourced, and you miss it on TV, big deal. I'll watch it on my iPad. I'll get the Hulu app.
That
it
totally
really depends on the content.
That totally makes sense. So you're quite a young man, and you've pulled off some great success. One of the things we like to talk about on this program is entrepreneurship and taking risks. And it sounds like one of the things you've done is go the smart way. Keep your job, develop your side job, then jump. Don't spend your life trying to do this. Can you give me a little bit of background on what was the process of leaping from starting this thing in Panera Bread, which I'm sure they're going to love that, up against Starbucks, which is where everybody else does it, supposedly. Give me a little of a vision into how you got where you are.
You know, the best advice I've been told by some of my advisors and family is that you got to stick with your gut, because it's ironic. The more you fail in like, you know, in society terms, the more crap you're going to get from people. But the more you're successful, you're still going to get crap, because they're going to say, "Oh, we had told you that. Oh, you should bring us on board." So you just have to like stick with your own gut and not let outside kind of environmental forces get to you. Because I think the number one factor for being successful in business isn't being able to know financing, or isn't being able to, you know, develop a program. It's really how do you handle different situations? Like, how do you handle pressure? Like, how do you handle the fact that like you only have a month left and your cash flow's burning? Or how do you handle the fact that, oh, some pissed off like business partner might throw a lawsuit if you don't do this role? Or how do you handle the fact that like, you know, you have to spend 18 hours on a weekend of work instead of taking your girl out on a date? You know, you have to like, it's how do you handle those things?
Balancing, you know, it's very important that you brought that up, and I really appreciate that, because I actually I'm a big advocate of not allowing the dream killers in, and that's what I call them, dream killers. Whether it's the member of your family who thinks you're crazy and tells you to get a real job, or the person who might be frankly jealous and doesn't want to see you succeed because you may no longer be part of their life, or they haven't been able to succeed. You know, I always say the dream killers can only get in if you let them. And it sounds like that's part of what you're talking about. But you also have used the term advice, and it seems to me like you listen a lot. Would that be accurate?
Yes, and I actually want to add to your dream killers and take what you said and add to the advice. Anyone could give you advice, but I would say in this day and age, as an entrepreneur, it's important you get the right advice. So for instance, if I'm pitching to you for money, and if you tell me, I don't think your business has legs, but let's say you've never ever done a digital media company, or you don't know anything about Indian culture, you don't know what the word Bollywood is, I don't know if your advice makes sense. And I think entrepreneurs need to make sure that they get the right advisors. Otherwise, they'll get the dream killers.
Yeah. And if you don't believe in what you're doing, you shouldn't be doing it. I mean, in all honesty, I can't tell you over the years. I have a published book, and I'm now doing a TV show, and everybody says, "What do you want to do that for?" Well, first of all, because I can, and second of all, because I think there's good reason for doing it. So, and eventually they'll come around, and the ones that don't, you frankly don't need them, I guess, is the point that I would make. Who have you been your biggest cohorts or partners in all of this? I mean, who else is part of this machine?
Yeah, so Desi U was founded by myself and a partner. His name is Harish Rao, and we complemented each other. I was kind of like the business driver, the vision. I saw the picture of this opportunity, and he was the creative genius. Like he if I'm going to market and work with content creators, he himself is a content creator. He's a film director and a producer. So it was great to have his perspective, saying, well, what you're pitching sounds too complicated. If I don't get it, how's this director going to get it? So I think as a business, it's important to have founders and co-founders, but I would also caution you that it can get good, but it can also, you have to learn to like each other from the good, the bad, the ugly. You're in a way married to each other. Or if it's more than one.
No, it's more than being married in some ways.
Yeah, like so you have to learn to handle it. If you can't, then you shouldn't do a business with other founders. And that's okay. You don't have to have founders. Sometimes you can do it on your own and just have people grow as you grow, and that's nothing wrong with that.
Now, we've talked about the entertainment and all, but we haven't talked a lot about what drives you on the cultural side of this. It seems to me that you, while you're American born, you have an identity that you're reaching for and leveraging in some ways. Tell me a little bit more about what drives you on the cultural side of this whole project.
You know, the business side. I'm fascinated to know that some of the biggest pioneers in our country are from India. For instance, in the venture capital side, Vinod Khosla, ex-Sun guy, the guy pretty much made clean tech an investment opportunity. A lot of these businesses have CEOs that are Indian, like Adobe. And these are people, the reason why I admire them is because often a lot of these people came to this country living the American dream. I had $500 in my pocket. I was living in a, junkyard apartment, and I stuck to my guns and I became somebody. That I admire. My own family had the same situation. They came here with not a lot of money, and now they're successful people financially. So that, I feel the Indian culture really promotes that. Hard work and believing in your passion and things like that. And then from the entertainment side, again, the entertainment industry, I don't know any industry that's so diverse. You have the dance, Bollywood music, and then you have independent cinema in India, which is growing. Each state in India, it's like its own country. They have their own type of films. It's like phenomenal. And then the music side. I mean, 2,000 years ago, they were playing these instruments that have influenced us, like the modern guitar. Why do you think the Beatles went to India to visit the Maharishis? They felt the musical influences from India that transformed them. So I think the music and the business and the film stuff really gravitated me growing up and made me want to do something.
Yeah. Well, now you're as second generation. I have to say one of my concerns about America is that many of the young people today don't seem to have that drive, and so one of the reasons I wanted to do the interview with you is because I see that you're a young man, you're second generation, you're still seeing the American dream and chasing after it, and I just wish we could get more of our second, third, fourth, fifth generation kids to realize how good they have it and how much of an opportunity, and that they're not frankly entitled to anything. You have to go take and earn what is yours. Don't expect somebody to spoon feed it to you, I guess would be the way to put it. Do you see the relationship growing between yourself and India itself? Meaning, are you going to be extending into an international base, or are you going to remain American-based, reaching out tentacles into the international market?
I actually don't think I'm going to do either, because I think I'm more about the cultural movement. So I think that whether I'm going to be in Irvine or LA or New Delhi or Mumbai or Singapore, there's Indians or people that are into Indian culture in all these pockets. So what I'm going to do is going to transcend to all of them. That's my goal, and that's what I hope to achieve. So I'd like to be like a global agency, because it's all the same. Everyone consumes mobile phones. Everyone watches internet. Everyone likes entertainment. Everyone likes action. I mean, it's all the same. I will say one thing about what you said. I will say that the traveling really opens one's eyes. I mean, if that's the best thing that happened to me. If I didn't travel to see the world, I might be a jaded American too, I think.
Yeah, living beyond. Well, I mean, here in Orange County, we call it living behind the orange curtain, because it's just like being in your own bubble. You don't. This isn't real world. I mean, it's not the rest of the planet. It is exceptional to live here, but it also kind of causes you not to understand how good you have it, and to appreciate what you have. So as you move forward, and you said you were going to expand out, are you looking for additional partnerships with larger firms? I mean, are you trying to do this organically? Do you want to stack, a partner investment? What's your plan for growth?
I think there's two types of businesses. One is you build your business to get funded, or you get funding to accelerate your business. So I'm kind of in the latter. I'm kind of in the latter option, where I'm at a point where I know what I want to do. I have all the elements. We're making some revenues, but now I'm looking to partner with strategic investors. Now, not like just some private doctor or some venture capitalist firm, but like someone that has additional distribution, like a mobile company or a film studio or something like that. So I'm always actively looking at that, but I'm not focused on that, because I know that if I get in that rat race, quote unquote, and it's not a negative thing, there's something wrong with that, I won't be able to focus on the day-to-day operations with my team. And so I like to do it, but I'm not gonna it's not gonna stop me.
I would say this too, that frankly, if you can self-sustain and you can grow organically at a rate that keeps your competitors at bay, I recommend you continue to do that, because the second you bring in another formula, another person, it changes the dynamic, it changes what you're about, and if you simply become just about the P&L rather than about continuing your cultural change and your desire to show people, then it could ultimately put the brakes on what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
How's your family supported all this? Tell me a little bit about how this has affected your relationship with your family and your friends and all that.
I mean, my parents are like any parents. They want their kids to succeed. So initially, when you do the business, they're just about, well, from the outside, if you don't make money, why are you doing this? But now I'm at a point where they're seeing it. They're saying, okay, this is something. If I didn't have a supportive family, when I mean supportive, meaning growing up, if I wasn't allowed to have a creative kind of like upbringing, like, try out everything, do soccer, do reading, do this and that, culture, making me cultured, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now.
Yeah. That's an important point. My parents always told me, you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very simple.
Exactly.
If you're not making mistakes, you're not doing enough.
Friends, friends are fine. I've gained new friends, I've lost some friends, you've made sacrifices, but it's just part of the game, and you just look back, learn from it, and move on. Right on.
Well, I really appreciate your coming in. Is there anything that you want to tell me about Desi U that I've missed in this conversation?
Sure. So my website is www.DesiYou.com. We're going to be making a major website update, so I would say before the end of the year, there'll be a significant change, because we're changing the positioning into an agency. But if you're still interested in working with us, I'll give you my email address. It's ash@DesiYou.com. And
well, thank you so much for coming in. It's been a great conversation, and I wish you the best of luck. I think you got a good thing coming.
Thanks.
I'm Kevin McDonald, and you're watching Ion Business.